Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Scotsy Business. Today I want to talk to you guys about something really interesting. So, upvotes, upvote bots, botting, bot bidding, all a very, very interesting component of Steem. It's a very privatized component of Steem. But it largely affects how the general users operate on the platform. So, we've seen over the last several months, maybe even over a year now, where it's become more and more challenging to get noticed on Steem without the use of bid bots. And there are those who are, they remain loyal to their beliefs of, don't use bid bots, so they aren't using them. But they're not getting seen, not nearly as much. And the question becomes, do we either double down on bid bots or do we remove them entirely? How do we proceed? Because if we're going to continue to allow using bid bots, then it has to be a generally accepted and widely known notion, so that you're not afraid to use bid bots because someone's going to downvote you for using bid bots. Or there's a bunch of different things, right? I see a lot of people self-vote, no issue there, but then when someone has a lot of influence and they self-vote, they're downvoted for abusing it, right? So I wanted to open up this general discussion about bid bots. Where do we see this moving in the future? Obviously, the larger, more influential people have the bid bots, and for them it makes sense because it just makes them a lot of money. But it's very privatized, right? So what everyone needs to use in order to get awareness only really benefits a very small handful of people. And that kind of creates the problem that Steem set out to solve. Poor distribution of, like an unfair distribution of wealth. And that's being created with the use of bid bots, and mostly just by bid bots. I think honestly, if there was no bid bots on Steem, then there would be a much more equal distribution of wealth. But it sort of serves as a barrier right now to prevent people from, I guess jumping onto the platform and just, creating a bunch of stuff and, assuming that they're just going to make all this money. No, it creates this barrier where you either have to invest in Steem and then spend that invested Steem and then just keep recycling it. Like, it's not like it's a pay-to-play system, right? Like, you'll basically earn your profit back for the most part. Sometimes you'll even gain profit. Sometimes you'll lose. But for the most part, you're going to get your budget back that you spend on bid bots. You just need to look for the most profitable ones to really benefit. But then there's also the ethics of it, right? Like, are they really looking at spam? Are they upvoting things that they shouldn't be upvoting? So there's all these aspects to it that make it a very in-depth discussion, conversation. And how do we move forward? I'd like to hear from you guys. Should we be condemning bid bots? Should we be just accepting it? How should we be doing this? An interesting proposition that was presented to me a while ago was if we had captchas for every time you went to upvote, or maybe every 5 upvotes, that would end bid bots entirely. Bid bots would not be able to answer captchas. That would end autovoting entirely. So I guess autovoting originally started out where it was like, I have votes, I want to help out my friends and the people that I support, but I don't want to have to go and, upvote their stuff every day. Well, it's a slippery slope, right? So it goes from, I don't want to upvote their stuff to, I'm just going to set myself to upvote the best stuff that I know is going to be the best so that I earn the most curation. And then it eventually becomes, I'm going to sell my vote to other people and just give it to anyone because it'll make me the most money. I don't know if there's a step beyond that. I'm afraid to find out. But I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. I'm not attacking bid bot owners. I'm not saying down with the bid bots. So let's screw them over with captchas. I know it would also be a point of resistance because it would be a pain to have to answer a captcha every five posts. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Without bid bots, it'd be a more fair playing field, I guess. But with it, it creates this entry barrier that sort of deters spam from being able to get higher up, and it creates that little entry barrier where you either have to invest a bit or you've earned enough at this point to start putting that towards, you know, getting more. And I'm not against bid bots. I use bid bots, but I would be open to the idea of having no bid bots, but I wouldn't not use them to get the point across if everyone else was using them. I'm not trying to put detriment on my own social outreach. Same with anyone else. I don't want you guys to sacrifice your potential to prove a point when it just might be inherent to the system at this point. The majority of influencers, the bigger influencers, have bots. And that's why the bots work, because they have such a high stake. So I mean, realistically, it's pretty hard to tell those people not to. And the people who would have the influence to change the policy probably want those people's votes. So I mean, it kind of creates a bit of a conundrum there. Again, I'm not trying to attack anyone, so hopefully I don't get, you know, destroyed, my reputation destroyed for just bringing this up. But I do think it's a conversation that needs to be had. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to think, and I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep the conversation rolling in the comments, and yeah, keep on earning, keep on learning, keep on steaming. Cheers.